Hello, my name is Katherine Beglinger, and today I am wanting to tell you about how video games affect our overall perception and judgment. This was chosen due to the relevancy of video games in our culture, especially with now how immersive games are becoming with VRs. The line between games and reality is blurring. To begin, I'd like to discuss how our moral judgment of individuals changes from video games before and after playing, and both the perception and morality element individually. It is indicated that playing violent role-playing games affects our attitudes and judgments of similar real-life crimes, especially in games like Grand Theft Auto, where crime is conducted and encouraged throughout the entirety of the game. There's things like robbery, theft, and shootings. This could lead to a tendency where outside in the real world, kids and adults see crimes as lesser or not as bad because kids and adults themselves conduct these crimes virtually. This could lead to a harder impact down the road, such as affecting judgment in court cases of a committed crime within a jury. However, games along the lines of Call of Duty that call towards more of a moral judgment does not affect the overall morality of individuals. The violence in these games adds to the subjective process of an individual, but does not affect their overall morality. So games that are blamelessly violent, such as Mortal Kombat, where two characters fight each other without any reason, won't overall affect a kid's moral standing, but it could lead them to perceive fights in general as less bad. This can mean in the future, children and adults, while still holding their own morals of themselves, will have a higher tolerance to the perception of bad crime. This will skew our judgment and perception of others when they conduct crime, but not within ourselves and our own morals. Now, moving on to the idea that perception of empathy changes over time because of video games exposure and what is an okay level of violence. Studies show that there is a positive correlation to the amount of video games played compared to an individual's judgment of others' pain. The more violent a video game is played, the less an individual can perceive another individual's pain levels. So, when video games show ideas and encourage things, such as a mass murder on a large scale, which is something Grand Theft Auto does allow, it can cause a backlash on the psyche of those playing due to the mass murder they are perceiving without any consequences. This means when shown a picture of a man in agony like the one below, people who have played less violent video games will have a higher amplitude of empathy for the man in agony than those who played for a short period of time. Those who habitually play violent video games also have an already lower desensitization of people's pain, so playing more violent video games for a short period of time does not have as big as an impact on them as someone who doesn't habitually play and then plays violent video games for a short period of time. Due to this desensitization, as well as they are unable to recognize their own desensitization, it causes those who are becoming less empathetic or those who play video games for an elongated period of time to also lessen their ideas of government's need to control video games. It's a self-mute relationship. Lastly, video games influence the perception of races and real-life racial characterization due to how race is portrayed in a game. For example, black men in video games could be portrayed as thugs and criminals, such as this black man here holding a gun and acting violently. Having black men being violent causes and primes individuals to racially characterize black men as dangerous. So, to test the priming effect, a study was conducted to test to see how the priming of black characters affected perception. Individuals in the study were primed one of two ways. First, they were primed with a black man, as in the previous shown slide. They were considered black thugs. or they were prime professional black men, as shown in the current slide, with both black men talking about political candidates and pro-black attitudes. Individuals tended to prefer the professional black man, as shown in the previous slide, and the ideas the professional black man provided. They were also affected and favored those professionals' ideas of candidates in a more political setting. The priming shows that video games can cause people to lean towards certain racial ideas or thoughts depending on how a black individual in a video game is presented when having those ideas. This could lead to a bigger impact down the road, with video games being able to push a political agenda. Thank you so much for watching my video. I would like to end on the note that video games aren't inherently dangerous or concerning. All discussed ideas were due to the violence in them and what they displayed. This is meant to show that video games have a large impact on our perception, and these ideas should be taken into consideration within the world of gaming.